If the computer is a bicycle for the mind that carries our capacities so far that we could never even imagine, how do we know where to go? Our past is not static, so that we have these memories and they become kind of codified in our synaptic pathways. It becomes this thing. But if you take a pause and you go back to a moment and you reconstitute it through your sensory details, look around again, and then you ask yourself again, why does this moment matter? Why is this moment still with me? Why am I, of the 500,000 moments that we have every year, why is this one still there? It doesn't mean the same thing because you're not the same person.
I want you to remember these 3 things. Then one day, until finally, and ever since then.
After all the bits and bytes of information you've taken in today, the 100,000 words that you've heard, the 34 gigabytes of information that you've digested in your head through all the speakers, all the conversations, all the emails, the question is, what will people remember tomorrow? Land the meaning, deliver on that sensory detail, and your stories will be remembered. And if your stories are remembered, you will be remembered. If the dopamine is here, sparking curiosity, and the cortisol is here, that, gosh, I really want to know what's going to happen here. Can you save me? Then the oxytocin is here. The release, the connectivity, the possibility, that recognition that we too, even if our stories are different, can make our way through. Ever since then is what shows your lesson. Ever since then is what reveals how the world is different.
The problem is with so much data, we have to have a way to contain it.
A story is a problem approached in an interesting way that makes us care.
How do we contain our stories?
Go into a deep place that shows some of that vulnerability.
The place where stories don't work is when they seem forced, when you deliver information too fast, when you skip a part, when you don't skip anything at all, when you share way too much information. Where you get stuck in that problem, that place where you can't quite get out, it's not something we're going to retell tomorrow because it's just being stuck in a problem.
So I invite you to think not just about your great story, but your many stories.
You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. But you have to connect the dots. You have to take a moment to connect the dots.
The word purpose comes from the Old French, proposer, to propose, intent. It's not just some magical thing that appears and all of a sudden you know it, but often it's more of a journey. It's more about setting off to bring something about in the world.
Each of us can have 10 stories that we gather that deliver on our most critical lessons of our life. And we can attach those to the things that are most important to us.
It's been said that a problem is the shortest distance between how the world is and how the world can be.
This is about showing the challenge and then bringing them out into the lesson. The lesson is what anchors the change.
So stories go down into the place, what Joseph Campbell, the mythologist, called the innermost cave, the place of not knowing. It's in that not knowing place, whether it lasts for 10 seconds or 10 years. That's where the richness is. That's where the power is. Just a flash before that until finally moment. that until finally moment, that light bulb, that possibility.
So you have to be responsible to go back to your own adventures, go back in time, look around a little bit. Is there something else that is informing a way that story can be told that's relevant to now? On that innermost cave moment, that moment of mystery, that moment of being uncertain, is actually the catalytic material to bring that transformation.